Well, I am back. You can tell the studio's different than the one yesterday, and it's time for 49ers Intel on what typically, I guess, is laundry day, Tuesday, but the 49ers played last Thursday. So we've already had a long enough break. They're going to be back out at practice at Levi's Stadium tomorrow for the first official game week practice. Arizona Cardinals coming to town. Monday's practice was a bonus practice for the 49ers. So they're going to be installing that game plan in full tomorrow. And 49ers Intel, obviously, is the series that takes you behind the 49ers, gives you the analytics, gives you whatever strategy might be going on, any locker room tidbits today. It's going to be some advanced statistics. Let's take a look at some early data. We're 3 games into this thing, 3 undefeated teams left. The 49ers are one of them. Depending on which model you use, you can use I think it's the PFF model as one of them, and then there's the summer sports model as another. Uh, all kinds of analytics out there, right? But depending on which model you use, the 49ers are either the number 1 Super Bowl odds to win the Super Bowl team or the number 2 team. They have the 2 best odds, depending on the model, to win the Super Bowl. It's the 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs right now. But I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. That is just kind of a projection to keep in mind right now. The 49ers up near the top of the league in point differential. Obviously, they're one of 3 remaining undefeated teams. I'd rather look into some of the early statistics of both Brock Purdy and this 49ers defensive line. So we're going to start with quarterback efficiency, third down efficiency, because third down is the quarterback's down. And this right here is going to show you early down efficiency, first and second down, versus third and fourth down efficiency. I'm going to explain how the graph works. But if you go x-axis, that's early down EPA per play. That's expected points added per play. So this is going to be a lot more sophisticated way of looking at things than just raw stats and raw completion percentage. This is going to give a quarterback more credit for moving the chains versus not moving the chains. Obviously, raw yardage is not able to do that. This is going to take into account field position. This is a smart way of looking at efficiency. So for early downs, you want your dot to be further to the right. And then for late downs, you want your down to be further up. The league averages are found along the dotted X and Y red axis. So it's better to be further to the right and further up. So let's look to see where Brock Purdy's dot is. Oh boy, it's up here. It is, yes, further to the right and it is further up. That's exactly where you want it to be. In fact, Brock Purdy's dot is higher up than anybody else's dot. And what did I say? Well, the y axis is third down efficiency, the quarterback's down. So that's something. Brock Purdy on the quarterback's down is the number 1 QB in all of football. EPA per play on third and fourth downs, NFL quarterbacks. Purdy 1, edges out Tua Tagovailoa 2, Dak Prescott 3. Now, it's significant because in general, the further you get into the down sequence, the more a quarterback has to put stuff on his shoulders. The more it's a pass obvious situation, the more the defense can kind of set things up against any potential offensive script, the more a quarterback has to improvise. So that's what they call third down, the quarterback's down. Brock Purdy on the quarterback's down is currently leading all of football in efficiency, even higher, barely higher than Tua Tagovailoa. That's expected points added per play over the league average. Tagovailoa 0.494, Brock Purdy 0.495. So cool early data from Brock. Jimmy Garoppolo was always good on third downs for the 49ers. He's 10th this year, so he's still doing okay. He's still here above league average, even after the bad game for the Raiders the other night. But he's not quite as good on the early downs. And that might be a little bit of an indictment of what's going on there with Josh McDaniels and that Raiders system. Garoppolo below average on early downs for Las Vegas, above average on third downs. Purdy, though, above average both ways. Now, his y-axis positioning is just as high as Tagovailoa's, just that 1/1000th of a percent or whatever you want to call it. He edges out Tua. Sorry, my math isn't good enough to quantify this difference right here with words, but it's really close. But Tua's way better on first and second down. So right now, Tua Tagovailoa up here in the right corner, he's like a cheat code. That means that Mike McDaniel is doing his job. And that means that Tua Tagovailoa is doing his job. He's extreme right, extreme vertical. That's what you want from anybody. He is outpacing the league by a wide margin. Now, the sample isn't huge, right? The sample right now is 3 games big. We expect Tagovailoa to come down to earth a little bit because he's just so ridiculously far out there. That being said, Brock Purdy seems to be in a pretty damn sustainable spot, right? There are quarterbacks around him, and Mahomes is a little bit underneath him here on third down. Mahomes is about the same on first and second down efficiency. But, I mean, there are quarterbacks in his ballpark, so we don't look at this and say, oh, my gosh, this is just extreme for Brock Purdy. We say that he's looking really good. If Tua didn't exist, we'd probably say that Brock Purdy was the best quarterback in the league right now as far as efficiency goes. And as far as third down efficiency goes, he is the best in the league. So there you have it. More ammunition, more data for you in case people are trying to tell you that what Brock Purdy is doing is not impressive, because it certainly is very, very impressive. The quarterback the 49ers faced this week, Josh Dobbs, he's been about average. So is Matthew Stafford. Mac Jones a little bit below average, at least on the third down efficiency. Derek Carr over here in that same vicinity. So Dobbs, I talked about this. The Cardinals love to run the football. The 49ers are going to want to make sure that they stop the run, because it seems that Josh Dobbs, a lot of his efficiency, a lot of the ease with which he's able to play right now is 17 of 21 against the Cowboys. A lot of that seems rooted in the fact that Arizona is pounding the run game this year, and it's creating a nice spine for their passing attack. If the 49ers can take away the Arizona run game in the way that Dallas couldn't, that probably gives the 49ers an opportunity to make Dobbs a below average efficiency quarterback. So we'll see what happens. Funny video. Joshua Dobbs, he goes into the Arizona Cardinals team store, was looking to buy a jersey of his. They don't even have his jersey. So, yeah, they signed him a month ago. He's starting in place of Kyler Murray. He's hurt right now. But the Arizona Cardinals team store may want to get their inventory updated so that their starting quarterback, who's actually playing well, has a jersey in their team store. All right, moving on. Here, we have another cool graphic. This right here is defensive tackles, interior defensive linemen around the NFL. The bottom, you could probably see it. Maybe here, you could see it now. Yeah, and you could zoom in. The bottom is expected average raw pass rush grade. So the difficulty of a player's assignment. So the expected grade that they would carry based on how tough the assignment is, because they chart if it's a double team, triple team, or whatever other metric of difficulty there is. And then the y-axis right here is grade over expectation. So the quality of the pass rushing that's happening. So this is a pass rushing graph. And I'll point out where the 49ers are. Again, you want to be further up. That's the most important thing, right? That's the most quantitative measurement here. You want to be further up because that measures grade over expectation in terms of quality of pass rushing. So you want to be above this horizontal dotted line. And then where you are as far as going left to right, that's going to be reflective of how difficult your assignment is. So Javon Hargrave, he's way up here in terms of grade. That's really damn good. Javon Hargrave is in the same ballpark as Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence, Jalen Carter, David Onyemata, who had a good game against the 49ers in week 1 for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald looks healthy again, and Aaron Donald always seems to be in a world of his own when he is healthy. But there are 6 edge rushers here who are significantly better than everyone else, and Javon Hargrave is part of them. Then there's your second tier, or not, 6 defensive tackles, 6 interior rushers. Then there's your second tier of interior rushers. And that second tier of interior rushers features 2 49ers, Eric Armstead and Javon Kinlaw. And this is what I wrote about the other day. So the 49ers have 3 of these guys on the interior that are firmly in either tier 1 or tier 2. Their fourth player, Kevin Givens, is also performing above average. Look at Givens. He's right there. Again, look at this dotted line. You want to be above the dotted line. So Kevin Givens, above average. Javon Kinlaw above average, second tier, I would say. That's really good. Eric Armstead, a little bit better than Kinlaw. And then Javon Hargrave here in this top tier alongside Aaron Donald, Jalen Carter, Arden Yamada, Leonard Williams, and Dexter Lawrence. So the 49ers all over the good half of this chart. And then if you look at the average raw pass rush grade as far as difficulty of assignment goes, well, it's suggesting that Kinlaw and Armstead are eating up a whole bunch of double teams because they're way off to the right here. So teams are obviously giving Kinlaw and Armstead a very hard time. They're still grading above average. And then Javon Hargrave has been the beneficiary in terms of sacks. He has 2 of them so far. It looks like his job actually, by the amount of double teams that he's facing, hasn't been as hard. And that shows the value of teamwork. So the 49ers are all over the place when it comes to the top half of this graph. And that's exactly where you want to be. So the interior defensive line has been very, very impressive for them. And then we can extend this to talk about the edge rushers. So this is the same graph, except edge rushers are here. And look where Nick Bosa's at. It's Nick Bosa and Myles Garrett that are the highest vertical edge rushers on this one. Grade over expectation, quality of pass rushing. Now, what's interesting to me here is that Drake Jackson also has an above average score, but it suggests that Drake Jackson's job has actually been more difficult. So for that reason, I just want to see a bigger sample size here. And I want to see the methodology a little bit closer. I know that Clelin Ferrell's also above average with a more difficult task than Nick Bosa. I'm not exactly sure how that came to be. I do know that Nick Bosa has had an awesome raw pass rushing grade, and you could see him here at the top with Myles Garrett, who's also been awesome. That's going to be great to see those two players on the same field in Cleveland in mid-October because the Browns defense has been absolutely surging. But what matters to me is that every single 49ers entrant here is scoring above average. And as they're scoring above average, you're seeing Drake Jackson face, at least according to this, a more difficult situation than anybody else, right? Well, Bryce Huff over here has got a difficult situation. So the difficulty of assignment is high for Drake Jackson. Seems pretty high for Clelin Ferrell. And it seems that Nick Bosa is excelling with what he has. Now, people are wondering, well, why isn't the 49ers sack total higher? It's because they're facing quick release. This defensive line is super impactful, so impactful that other teams are like, wait, we're not sure if we want to throw against these guys. So the 49ers are facing a lot of quick release. But these metrics from Brock Purdy to the interior defensive line to Nick Bosa are damn impressive for the 49ers. All right, quick analytics look. Hope everybody's having a great Tuesday. We'll be back in a little bit with more. 49ers going back to practice tomorrow to get ready for the Arizona Cardinals. Everybody like and subscribe. We'll talk to you very soon.